G'day my friends and welcome to Marty's Garden and the grow table. I just got out of the surf and I had a blast and I was out there thinking, what can I do to bring more value into people's lives this grow season? And I thought, tomatoes. Everyone's planting tomatoes and herbs and things, and tomatoes are really delicious. They're fairly easy to grow if you know a few tips and tricks along the way, and they can be really prolific if you get the right ones. So what I want to do today is talk about cherry tomatoes and indeterminates and determinates and which ones to plant, a little bit about the container mixes and putting them in the ground. So first we'll start off with the plants. Now these ones are Romas. They're sort of like a semi-indeterminate, which means they'll only get to about 3 or 4 feet high. They do need staking, especially if they're growing really quite prolific. They produce a lot of good fruits on them. They're used for cooking more so normally. That's what I've got them for. And I really just like having them around, and I'm going to be making some sauces for tomato sauces and pastes and all that stuff, so I'm really excited to have these guys. The next one is the cherry tomato here, and these ones, they're indeterminate tomatoes, so they'll actually grow up and vine, but being a cooler season they won't grow too tall. They'll be smaller and stockier and just produce a few fruits for me. But going into your summer, you should be able to grow them right through the spring until it gets cool, and then they'll die off. But you've got to have good staking for them. Now what else I like with cherry tomatoes is you can get what they call determinate ones. And the determinate tomatoes are great in pots, and they get small and bushy and they'll overhang. And they'll just get heaps and heaps of fruit, and you pretty much pick them over a period of a few weeks. And then you can make sauces and can them up and do all really cool stuff with them. If you sort of stagger them, you can get rotation of plantings. But then you put your indeterminate ones in there as well, and then they're prolific. And when your determinates are finishing up, you've got it right through the whole season. And then when your indeterminates are starting to finish up, you see they're not growing as good. Plant some more determinates from the seed that you've got, and you'll get fruit again in another 3 or 4 weeks for another period of weeks, and then it's all done. So that way you're creating a continual nice little roller coaster of plenty of tomatoes going on in your garden. Now what tomatoes like to have around them are companions, because we don't want to spray these little guys. We want to avoid putting any chemicals on them. We want them to keep them happy, healthy and fresh. And 2 of my favourite companions to plant with tomatoes are the basil and the parsley. Basil and parsley are the perfect combination together. Now the flat leaf parsley that I have here, most parsleys don't like the full on heat, so if you can give them a bit of shade from your tomato plant, that's absolutely perfect. Just make sure that your basil and your tomato don't compete too much together and block sunlight and things, because you won't get as much fruit on your tomatoes. So put them side by side or one each side, and then maybe your parsley at the back or sort of at the front where it's only going to get a few hours sun. Morning sun's always better for the parsley. So what containers are best for growing tomatoes in? Well, obviously the bigger the better, and it depends on the type of tomato. If they're indeterminate tomatoes, you need to have a really big pot, because they'll grow right through the spring and summer and even into the autumn. Determinate tomatoes don't need as big a pot, because basically they're only going to grow to yay big, and they sort of spill out over the side within 6 weeks. You're harvesting, they're done, dusted, and then you've got to regrow them again. So that's why I really like them, because they don't take a lot of space, they produce quickly, and then you can actually turn them into a lot of different recipes at home. So they need about a container that's probably half the size of what we would call an indeterminate tomato. Did you like that video, my friends? Well, if you did, head over to the subscribe area, click the bell button, and you'll get notified each and every time a new video comes out. This way you won't miss any, and I'll see you at the next one real soon. Plenty more on the way.